switch on over to our interview with Sandie. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Like I said before, let me get to my notes here before we get started. But as we're shifting gears here, I hope y'all like my auto pun there. We have a very special guest joining us today, someone who is representing Hardin County on the national stage. Yesterday, the New York Times published an article about Blue Oval SK battery plant shutdown and its impact on our community and the state in general. One of the people featured in the article is joining us right now. So we thank you for joining us. For those who may not know the backstory, we're not going to pretend like you all don't know the backstory. We definitely know, everybody knows that Blue Oval SK, joint venture between Ford and SK On, that built the battery factory on 1,500 acres right here in Hardin County. It's one of the largest manufacturing investments in Kentucky history. Last September, just 4 months after the first batteries rolled off the line, Ford shut it down, laid off all 1,600 workers right before Christmas. And our guest was one of those 1,600 workers. So everyone give a hearty local welcome to Sandie. I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name, but you can definitely pronounce it for me. I don't want to.
Yarborough.
Okay. Oh, that's not too hard.
It's not too hard, yeah.
Not at all. Russell Tucker, thank you for saying, hey, what's up with you, Russell? Good to see you. All right. Well, let's get into this. Setting the stage is part one of this interview. But thank you. I think I've thanked you 50 times already. So I guess my AI ghostwriter got a little thankful for once. Always ungrateful. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your connection to Hardin County.
Well, I've lived here for almost 10 years. I moved here for my best friend, and I've lived here, and I love Hardin County. It's like my favorite place to live. I'm from North Carolina originally.
All right. You're featured in this New York Times article that came out yesterday about Blue Oval SK. How did you end up being part of that story? Did the reporter reach out to you, or how did that come about?
I've done a lot of press already, and I'm affiliated with the UAW, which is United Auto Workers of America. And so everybody's been talking about it. Like, it's been wild. I've done probably like 6 interviews about it. So I guess in New York Times, it's like, hey, we want to be in too.
Yeah. Okay. What was it like to see your name
in the story
so awesome.
In the New York Times? It was awesome.
That would be cool.
It was a really, really cool experience.
Yeah. And they even came and take pictures too.
They did. It was awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So take us back when you first got the job at Blue Oval SK. What was the moment like for you? What did the opportunity mean?
It meant an opportunity for a startup, something new and fresh and exciting. I think that everybody had the vision. A lot of people had the vision for it. I think that nobody wanted it to fail. You know what I mean? I think everybody was super excited. The culture was fantastic. The pay was pretty decent, pretty great for Hardin County. So I think that everybody was on board and had their hopes and dreams into Blue Oval.
That would make sense. What was the work like day to day? And also when you're thinking of that question, I guess I'm also kind of hinting to what was the energy like on the factory floor when things were running?
It was great. We had a startup production kind of ceremony, and everybody got flagged. And I mean, everybody was fired up because we had been not doing a whole lot before startup production. We were just kind of cleaning, getting all the machines ready. So when we started, everybody was hyped, super hyped.
I bet. You also mentioned the UAW. The article mentions that workers had just voted to join UAW. What did that feel like? Did it seem like things were heading in a better direction because of that, or did it seem to cause any friction?
Union perspective, better, but it did definitely cause a lot of friction, for sure. There was a lot of anti-union things going on, and lies were told, and things like that.
Just drama. I mean, I think I've heard this story before, which, that's never fun or helpful for anybody, is it?
Right, exactly. I feel like we live in America and everybody's free to vote any way they want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, 100%. And so then the shutdown, and I know some of these questions are moving quicker than maybe I meant for them to be. So don't feel like you got to rush through the answers. You can kind of tell your side, your narrative. So then in December, when you found out about Blue Oval SK pulled the plug just 4 months after the first battery came off the line, how did you find out, and what went through your mind when you found out?
We found out on UKG, which is kind of like an app, Facebook app for us. Like it just kept us all in the know. And it was, I don't know, maybe like a 5-minute video of our CEO, Michael Adams, telling us the reasons why it's shutting down and what our next steps are going to be. And I liken it to a divorce. I think everyone was sad, angry, and confused. Because, I mean, some people kind of knew what was going to happen, but nobody expected it just to be like, okay, well, we're done February 14th. Like, don't ever come back to the plant ever again. They mailed our stuff from our lockers to us. Like we've never
Really?
said yes. We've never set foot on. Soon as we were done, like that day, it was over with. I haven't even seen Blue Oval since. And that was like
Weren't even allowed to come get your personal.
No. It was wild. I think it was over. I want to say it was like December 12th, 14th or something when we got the video. Somewhere around that area. Yeah.
I think that was about right. I had been at my sister's, and I was with my dad on a trip, and he didn't even know, and that's him being Judge
I know,
was
it was
really,
just out of the blue.
they didn't tell anybody until you guys found out. It was like it was shocking to people like me or some of our hosts when we were discussing it. We had no clue either, and we didn't even work there, so I can only imagine how it felt for you guys. So I bet. The article mentioned 1,600 workers were laid off right before Christmas. What was the mood like? Since you didn't get to see your coworkers, I'm sure you still were. You guys have developed friendships and stuff. How was the mood amongst other people that you did have relationships with there?
Well, I'm in a few different group chats and shocked, sad, angry. A lot of angry people. Because there's of course we had different age groups of people. I think the younger people were just like, well, on to the next job. But there are a lot of older generation who want that to be their final job. They're excited. They're going to work 5 or 10 more years, and they were like, this is it. And so they got to start all over again.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would have to be really difficult. I could understand the anger, because I think if it was me, that would probably be where I would have went, would be anger.
Yeah.
Did you have any friends that had relocated here to work there, or?
Yeah, there were a few people who relocated. A lot of the upper management relocated. Somebody came from Arizona. They came from everywhere.
Yeah. How did those people react? I don't know. Was there a difference between the higher ups versus the actual factory workers?
I think the higher ups already knew because it was kind of in the air anyway. But we just didn't know how it was going to play out. I didn't think that it was going to be, we're shutting it all the way down. I figured they would pivot into something else, and we would take the ECTC. They would send us back over there and train us to do something else while they're trying to figure out how they wanted to pivot, instead of just being scrap it all, start all over again. What?
Yeah.
Did
they keep anybody on to help with moving equipment out or anything like that, because they're gonna have to retool? Or did they just kind of say, everybody's done, we'll find people when we need them? Yeah.
Well, the team leads and the supervisors and a few other people stayed from each department. They still had to fulfill, I think, 50,000 batteries.
Oh, really?
Anyway, so they had to complete those, and then that was it.
Gotcha. David Mather just asked, and you may not know how this, I don't know the answer to this question. You probably don't either, but we'll still ask it. How many people have been hired back? Because I don't know if that's an actual question, the wording in that, because nobody's going to be hired back to Blue Oval SK, but there may be people that are hired back to Ford, because it's going to be Ford.
Right. Yeah. So with the union, we're trying to get succession rights, because we should have won our union back in August anyway. We had those 41-13 votes that were being contested, but we went to court. The NLRB decided that we actually won our union. So now we have to sit down with Ford, if they will have us, and talk about what their succession will be. Because a lot of people, even though they're angry and they're upset, they still want to work for the new company because it's convenient. The money was great. They already know the bill. You know what I mean? It's already set up, and we already know. So why not just slide us on in there?
Yeah. have there been discussions about that, or is that something that's going to come down the road with the union?
It's going to come down there with the union because a lot of the stuff that's with the union is basically lawyer stuff now. It's all contested in
Okay,
court. Yeah.
gotcha. That makes sense. So there's been a lot of debate about why this happened. Some blame the EV tax credits going away. Some say Ford made bad business decisions. Some say politics. From your perspective, as someone who was on the factory floor and it was there, what do you think happened?
I think we had a lot of things stacked against us. I don't think America's really ready for fully EV batteries. That was one. Two, we had an aluminum plant that we made our Ford F-150 Lightnings from. That burned down twice, and that was
Oh
in New
wow,
York. Yeah, twice. And
I didn't know
then
about
it's
that.
just, yeah, it was, we had a lot of, it was an uphill battle. I mean, of course, it was a startup. So I feel like as hard as we pushed, it was just one of these like kind of uphill battle type things.
Things always happen in startups. I've seen that.
Right, exactly. So yeah, yeah, we only, I think it was I only think it only lasted like 3 years. Like it ain't even got to like 5th year. Yeah.
I was going to say most
I know.
startups between the 3 to 5 year mark.
Right.
Part they'll last up to about 10, 15.
I also noticed like at some point last year, maybe it was the beginning of last year, about a year ago, I was looking at Ford Lightning leases, like for the, and they were so dirt cheap, and they still weren't selling. And I almost got one. It was like an $80,000 truck for $250 a month lease,
What?
which and they still weren't selling the things, So
Right. That was part of it too.
just because like I mean for me I don't need to tow a lot, but I noticed that they didn't go very far if you put stuff in the truck,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
but none of that has anything to do with you guys at all. That's just it's something like when I start thinking about electronic cars, you start thinking about like Tesla, and they seem to know what they're doing.
Right.
People are going to buy those cars with or without the tax credits. I mean, I'm sure it does help when they do have them. But then a company like Ford that is just trying to get into it fresh and new, it just, all the challenges like you mentioned, it's just it's just a sad story. It really is. And I'm sorry that you went through that. So let's talk a little bit about life after the plant. The article mentions in the New York Times that you're now working at a data center, on construction on a data center in Indiana and commuting over. Well, I guess you said you're staying at Airbnb.
Yeah.
But it's still over an hour compared to like a 20-minute drive. Tell us about the transition. What has the job search been like? Obviously, you found one now, but how's it been since you were laid off?
Well, it hasn't been all that great. I mean, of course, I'm in the group chats with people, and there's a lot of people who, as of February 14th, went on unemployment. Like they couldn't find anything comparable. I mean, there were jobs, like they had a job fair just for us, I think in January. And there were decent jobs, but not comparable jobs. And that's what everybody was saying. They're like, if they don't pay more than 20, you know what I'm saying? And then a lot of Bowling Green companies came up here, and a lot of people didn't want to drive that far. So it was kind of difficult to find a job.
I'm sure. And I said laid off earlier. I meant fired. Just so you know.
Well, terminated.
Terminated, fired. I mean, as in, I don't want to make it sound better by saying laid off from the big company's perspective, because I don't think that's fair to you guys. I don't mean it that way. So you told the New York Times, and I'm quoting here, it's a struggle now to find something that's comparable, which you just said too. What's that mean for you and in your day to day?
I'm thankful that I found something that was comparable, but like I said, I gotta get an Airbnb during the week, so I don't have to drive back and forth because it's about an hour and a half drive home. Going up here is not that bad, but the home drive is the rough one. I think that during this time, people should pivot into something that they actually really like, into a career maybe instead of just a job in the meantime.
Is that something that you found yourself thinking about?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like I'm trying to find something that will use my talents and that will be prosperous for me. So I've applied to be an electrician, and that's a whole long process, which is a union electrician. Yeah. So right now I'm just being a construction worker, which I like.
Were there things that you learned while you were going through this process and learning that new job that that you think has made you more, given you more skills that you didn't have prior that could help you in that direction?
I believe so. I think that I'm most definitely a people person. And I think that I have the ability to pull people together for a purpose, for a purpose
Okay.
bigger than themselves.
And I think, did you say that you have started another, like your own company, side business?
I
Did you want
have,
to talk about that?
yeah. It's called Hot Tea and Sweets, and it's more of like a wellness from the inside out and more holistic teas. It can be cold brew or hot. But I feel like God gave us all the tools that we need to be healthy. So why not use them? You know what I mean?
Okay. And so I'm going to make sure that we put on Hardin Local, this new company, like the details of it. Do you have a Facebook
Yeah.
page, or you do?
I don't actually.
Or not yet? Okay.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah.
Well, once you have something, we'll definitely make sure that people know about it. And you said tea, like the tea you drink?
Yeah, like hot tea, yeah. And I like
And
sweet
so,
tea, but
yeah,
like,
no.
like jasmine and green tea and oolong and all those good teas.
And you're like, explain a little bit more about what you're doing with that.
I'm trying to create wellness kind of on the go because I know that we have so many coffee shops in town, but I feel like there's some people out there who like tea. I love tea. I'm not super a coffee fan. And I think that people want to prevent health problems and keep themselves up with Botox and working out and cryogenics and all the things that people are doing. I feel like they can do things from the inside out. They can make themselves healthier from the inside out.
Okay. And so you're going to be selling like your own tea bags, or like how's it?
Tea bags.
Is that what you're okay?
Yeah.
And like, okay. All right. Well, we'll make sure we put that out there because I think that that's pretty cool that you've taken that. One of your takeaways from this experience has been, I'm going to start my own business, which I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. Plus the economy though. I feel like if you can't find a job, you got to make a job. That's how I feel about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you found a job and you're trying to make a job too. So I give you props for that.
Yes.
So you mentioned the job fairs and looking for work closer to home. What are you hearing out there from other people in your situation? Are there other options out there that you may want to let people know about, or even where you're at now?
There is an opportunity for Canadian Solar that's up there in Jeffersonville. It's a startup too, and they're taking a lot of Blue Oval people now. You get to go to China for 3 months. That's pretty cool. They'll reimburse you for your passport, and it's basically manufacturing. But yeah.
What was the name of that company?
Canadian Solar.
Okay.
So,
And that Canadian Solar. And well, I'll get some information from you later to put on hardinlocal.com in case there's people watching that want to look into that, because that could be very cool for some people. I mean, that'd be a difficult thing for somebody that had kids, or a family. But,
right. They've already hired a few people from Blue Oval, and they're supposed to go to China. I want to say March 9th is when they leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I've never been.
Me neither.
Well, did you look into it? Are you going to do something like that, or not? You like what you're doing now?
Manufacturing was cool, and that was like my first manufacturing job, but I don't think it used my talents the way I would like.
Okay.
But I learned a lot from working over there. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
that's true.
All right. Looking ahead in community impact, Ford says that they plan to reopen the factory the next year or so to make large batteries for data centers, which you said you're building right now, and utilities, with about 2,100 jobs. Laid off workers, I guess they can apply but aren't guaranteed a spot. What's your reaction to that?
I think they should take us all back. I mean, we, like I said, we already know. We know how everything goes. We know how the building layout, and we don't have a job. Go ahead and take us. Like I think
agree.
people are eager to go back to work, and they don't. You know what I mean? Might as well just go ahead and take us. You had the workforce right here. Boom.
That makes sense. So this community, like our community in Hardin County, invested a lot. $250 million in infrastructure, training facility at ECTC, tax breaks, even a sister city relationship with South Korea. When you talk to people around town, what's the feeling about all that now?
They're disappointed.
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 That makes sense. If you could speak directly to the people watching today who might be in a similar situation, laid off, looking for work, trying to figure out what's next, What would you tell them?
Take this time to figure yourself out so that you don't have a job, you have a career, something that's long lasting that will propel you into your future. That's what I would
I
say.
think that's really great. I do. I really appreciate your, I guess, what would we call it, Scott? I'm trying to think of the word, just like positivity,
Encouragement.
positivity in a really bad situation, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I try. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's all that we can control. Is
Right. You control what your day to day. So yeah.
I
Yeah.
also appreciate your honesty. Just I love it. The fact that you're like, okay, this happened. What was me? Let's move on. Let's the whole window door thing is
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
and if you have to go to Jeffersonville, you have to go to Jeffersonville. But a lot of us have lost jobs before. Obviously, not like I was down in Florida looking at my phone and somebody sent me the video. I'm like, this is going to be bad. Like, this is going to rock our world.
Yeah. It rocked a lot of
I
people's
think
world.
I think I said to Phil, I said, I think pretty sure this is legit. This is true. And we had a conversation about it. Like, this is going to dominate some of our conversations. I like the fact that you said what you said. You've been outspoken. You haven't been afraid. And I wish the best for you. I think starting a new business is always great. I love to see. I've been known to help small businesses. I'm pretty sure. But the fact that you're trying to bounce back on your feet and you're not just gonna sit there and just do what it is. Like you're moving on. And you're determined that. And there's a lot to be said for that.
Well, thank you.
And
I think there's a space in Hardin County for tea. You know, I really do.
I do so.
I'm gonna be at West Hardin County Spring Vendor Fair,
There you go.
March 7th. Yeah, from 9 to 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to get that out there. I don't have anything to write it down with now, but we're just
All right,
remind
cool.
me to make sure we announce it before it comes up. March
All right,
7th,
cool.
you said?
Yeah, March 7th. Yeah.
All right. And Scott, what were you had some final thoughts there?
I was just saying that I like drinking me some green tea, so I would like to try some.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Cool.
I know what I used to live in. I lived in Providence for a while back in the day, and they always had all these bubble tea places and just lots of different tea. You know, it was almost like they had as many tea places as coffee places up there.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, and I do like tea a lot. And I think there was an article that came out sometime in the past week or so that talked about how like having 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day or tea is actually good for you, and it actually can help you not have the early onset dementia or something like that. I'll have to see if I can find that article. It was a scientific study too that I heard quoted from yesterday. And if I can find it, I'll put it in the comments of this article because I think, it's interesting to hear good things. Sometimes you just always hear, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, your comment there with your business idea and what you're doing reminded me. But we really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your story.
Thanks
The
for having
fact that you're representing Hardin County on the national stage through the New York Times, that matters. We've linked the article on hardinlocal.com, so you can go check that out if you're interested in learning more about that article. It's pretty long, but it is definitely worth the read. So, audience, if you want to read the full article, I've already told you where to find it. And if Sandie's story resonated with you, and if you're a former Blue Oak worker or know someone who is, drop it in the comments, and we see you. This community sees you, and I know the leaders see you as well. At least the ones that I talk to, they definitely do care, and we're sorry that this has happened to you guys. But anyway, we're going to move on to events now, and Sandie, you can feel free to stick with us, or you can drop off if you have something else we need to do. But we're going to finish up with events and switch over to you.